Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. This is GravyTrain with another episode of GravyTraining. This episode, we're doing a hero spotlight on two heroes at once, Hagrim and Ember. And the reason that I'm doing them together, they're not directly related, but they are part of a team that I used quite successfully for a while. It's still a viable team. And it works really well at kind of subverting the meta because it focuses on kind of bypassing all of the things that are trying to control the battle. So, let's get into it. So, Hagrim is one of the dwarves. He's a dwarf rogue. I have him runed primarily for extra attacks. So duelist, effectively it's warrior runes. An actual warrior rune here, and a shield piercing rune, because he tends to do quite a few follow-up attacks, whether it's from Valken or whatever else, so those basic attacks come in really handy. And then Unbreakable Heart rune. His stats... he's more attack, like he doesn't ever get huge. You can get him probably up to about 16k defense comfortably. And his health is fairly high. He does not have an epic. So his stats aren't awesome. Otherwise he would be even higher on the list. But he has Dwarven Resolve, which, like all dwarves, he can't, or enemies can't dodge his attacks. He never misses, and he deals bonus damage to enemies with a high chance to dodge. So Hagrim is absolutely devastating to assassins and rogues. He's armored, so he takes less damage from physical attacks. He is a dual wielder, and so that is if this hero deals damage with their basic attack, they will make a bonus attack with their offhand weapon on the same target. So that's built in, he automatically gets an extra attack. I'm assuming the offhand is not as powerful as the main hand, but he gets it, and then all of those can trigger additional attacks. So he's got 30 or a 60% chance for an extra attack and a 20% chance to he is shield piercing. Now what I'm thinking right now, no, I don't have that. I have a blue shield piercing. I wonder if it's open, because if it is, I'll put the blue shield piercing on him. And instead, now I've got that on somebody else. So what I'm thinking is I may put the blue shield piercing rune on him and then put a caster rune on the purple slot, so it also has a 20% chance to steal a buff, or to purge a buff. So that's just a thought, you can kind of play around with that. So that's dual wielding, and that will proc, I mean that's always going to proc as long as he hits with the main attack, which he always will. Goblin's Exterminator, not really that important. He takes 25% less damage from goblin enemies, and deals 2x damage to goblin enemies. Whenever this hero kills a goblin, gain haste and increased attack. So he gets an attack buff and haste. Right now, goblins are trash. In the future, goblins might not be trash. So we'll see that this may become more relevant in the future. Vengeful Dwarf. Whenever an allied dwarf is killed, this hero gains 25% attack, 25% defense, 25% max health, and will make a basic attack on the enemy who made the killing blow. And we know that that basic attack can turn into a number of attacks. So this is definitely good. Forgotten Fervor, and this will happen every time a dwarf dies. So he can actually potentially get up to 75% attack. Forgotten Fervor, when on a team with High King Valken, this hero becomes fast. That is a really nice ability, so we'll definitely be making use of that. So his basic attack is dual wielding. He doesn't have an epic, like we said. His first ability, Buzzsaw. So melee physical attack on an enemy for 2630 base damage that deals 75% splash damage to all other enemies, causing nerve damage, which means they can't be healed for 3 rounds to all enemies hit. Deals 3x bonus damage, so technically that's like 4 times damage, to flying and plant heroes. Wow, I never realized that last part at all. That's kind of cool. So that means Lily, and not that Rocky Shiitake, was very tough to begin with, but he'll deal bonus damage to them and all flyers. So that is actually pretty cool, which means Furno, that means Agnon. Wow. If I had thought about that, I would have used him against Agnon instead of Theron if I had realized that. So that's kind of cool. We'll add a little bit more info there. So that 75% splash damage, shield-piercing effects work through splash damage. So even if you're doing... And the splash damage is considered a basic attack, basically. So the shield-piercing will actually work through that splash damage. So you can attack one person, especially against barbs, and you could end up killing the other ones. Jackhammer. This is the biggest reason to use Hagrim. Not the only, but it's the biggest. It's 4 melee physical attacks on target enemy for a 1775 base damage. That's before any other buffs or anything else. Blocking their ability to crit. Deals 3x bonus damage to armored and living stone heroes. So, this is other dwarves, this is Emily, this is Furnace, this is anybody that's armored or living stone. And I don't know if it stacks, because then, I mean, Agnon is living stone and so is Stonefist, but who cares about Stonefist right now? Bet it could change, who knows. Yeah, so it's 4 attacks, and it will not trigger extra attacks, so that's fine. But it's 4 attacks, so that means, like against Emily, 1 attack is going to pierce her shield, or is going to hit her shield and break it. 2 attacks are going to get through and just do damage. And the last attack is going to get through and do damage with shield piercing. So 9 times out of 10, even if she has Unbreakable Heart, she's going to die. And actually, I take that back. That last ability, or that last hit, will not necessarily be shield piercing. Scratch that. But either way, he's got 1 attack that busts shield, that busts the shield in general, 3 more follow-on attacks. If nothing else, it's going to take her down to 1 hit point. So, always good. It's a very strong ability. And finally, Dwarven Fury. This is yet another good ability. It's a melee physical attack on a target for 2038 base damage with a chance to wound. In addition, this hero's health will not drop below 1 and will make a basic revenge attack against any attacker for 2 turns. So, basically, that's a combination of like 3 different abilities. That's a combination of Unbreakable Heart, so he's drops down to 1 hit point. The Barbarian's kind of invincibility, or even more so, the Reptiles, the Gorgon's invincibility. So which lasts 2 turns if an enemy dies. So he gets 2 entire turns where he's basically unkillable until you purge that ability. And he does follow-up attacks, or he does revenge attacks, meaning anybody hits him with anything, he's going to do an attack, he's got all those extra basic attacks, it's going to be a frenzy. So that is Hagrim. Now, we jump over and look at Ember. So, oops, not Abigail, Ember. It's here. The Ember is a fast healer. which is always kind of nice. I have her rune for survivability. So I've got Duelist rune, which of course they're inconsistent with their naming, so it's just attack, defense. The hero rune is attack, skill. Skill is going to affect her chance to apply the burn debuff, and it is also going to affect how much she heals for. Hero rune for defense, attack, and damage reduction. Guardian rune for defense, damage reduction, defense buff. And champion rune for defense, attack, and basically vampire. It heals 10% of damage dealt. Her stats. So with the Guardian rune and everything else, she's at basically 14.5 for defense. She's at just under 8,000 for attack, and 32.95 skill. You can get her attack up to like 12k or something like that fairly easily. So yeah, definitely viable on attack. I still prefer her in a defensive role, but in this particular team, you can go either way. So her abilities. So she has Cloak of Fire, and that means allies gain immunity to burn and take 50% less damage from fire attacks. So Ember is actually really good against demons. Fiery Renewal. Whenever a burn debuff is applied to an enemy, all allies gain plus 5% max health. So it's basically, they get that max health and it's filled. So it's like they're getting a little boost of health, and then their maximum health goes up. Feed the Flames. Fire allies heal 25% of damage dealt. Percent healing is increased with skill. So she will actually heal more than 25% on herself. There are no other fire allies on this particular team that I'm going to be showing, but if you were running her, a good person to pair her with is going to be Ignis. Because when she applies the burn, he is going to make attacks on them, so it's kind of like an automatic follow. Fire Priestess. Attacks have a 100% base chance to burn on hit. This hero gains 10% damage reduction for each other fire ally on the team. Once again, not as big here, but bigger on the other team. And she's fast. Attacks first. Abilities. Basic attack, not very powerful. It's a spirit attack too, which means you can't use it against Solaris. But this first ability is awesome. So it is allies gain 74% attack. Abigail is 84% attack. The attack buffs from Iris and from Jin are all 100% attack buffs. So it's pretty close. And then does a ranged fire attack on all enemies for 2750 base damage, I'm rounding, and heals all allies for 64% of the damage dealt. So you do damage with her, you do healing with her, and you do an attack buff with her. So all in all, a really good ability. Cauterize. So you're going to heal a target ally for just under 7,000 health and purge all debuffs on them. That's one option. If targeted on an enemy, it's a ranged fire attack for basically 1,300 base damage that purges all buffs on hit. On a killing blow or targeting a corpse, your third option, the corpse is removed, and it ignores taunt when targeting. So let's break that down. You can either target an ally, which taunt doesn't matter, and you can heal for almost 7,000 health and purge all debuffs. Or you can target an enemy, ignoring taunt, do a little bit of damage, but if you finish them off, then you will burn their corpse and they can't be rezzed. Or you can target a corpse and burn it, and it will go away. But be careful. Phoenix Feathers will stop that ability from firing. You have to actually get rid of the buffs, or the buff first. And then finally, arguably a res on par with any other ones in the game, which I guess there's really only a couple. Resurrects target dead ally and all other fire allies. Then buffs all allies, that then adds a buff that heals for basically 7,000 damage each turn for 3 turns. Starts powered. So, let's look at that one. So we know there's 3 different reses. There's the Solaris res, which has its kind of ups and downs. There's the Emily res, which is pretty damn good, the haste res. And then you've got this one, where any other dead fire ally is going to get rezzed along with whichever hero you target. So you could target like a blue ally and still get the red one would come up with them. So at most you're going to res 3 people. Likely you're probably going to res 1 or 2. But, so that's awesome on its own. Then it buffs all the allies that it heals for 7,000 damage over each turn for 3 turns. So that's not over 3 turns. That's every round for 3 turns. They get healed for 7,000 damage. Or 7,000 health. So, and that's the entire party. That's not just the one that you rezzed or anything else. So you're getting healed up to 21,000 health over 3 turns. That's pretty awesome. So that is Ember. So the team that I like to use this group with, and it's the reason that I did these 2 together, that team is going to be, and it doesn't work against Jin as well. I can't take it against Jin. Well, or can I? Really can't. Alright, so I can't take it against Jin. Let's see who this one is. And there's Jin. And there's no Jin. Okay. So here we've got Dagran, Valken, Theron, and Emily. Still 5,400, so no slouches. And I just hit the wrong thing. Well, I'm too lazy to do a pause because I have to edit the things together. I can't just pause with this, so we're going to run through this battle really quick. Sorry, everybody. I just want to crank out more content, and if I have to stop and splice these together, then I have to worry about all the time to re-render the video and everything else, whereas this way I can record it and everything's on. Probably gonna do this. And his Valkyrie's tough. Damn it. Yeah. This was not the team to bring against this group. I killed one of his heroes. This right here is exactly why I don't get Legendary Conqueror, because I do dumb stuff occasionally. Alright, let's check this one. Jin. Alright, well my streak's gone anyways, so that's fine. Rumi Dungy. I think they're in my guild, or in the guild family. So, we'll try it. This time we'll pay attention. And I'm going to start out with Deadeye, follow with Ember, follow with Hagrim, who is here, and finish with Valken. And since we didn't really cover Valken, Valken is ruined for 3 festives, unbreakable, and 2 unbreakable hearts. So he's pretty sturdy. And Deadeye is just ruined mostly for defense. And the thing is that this team is supposed to subvert the enemy capabilities. Deadeye will, and I've already done the hero spotlight on Deadeye. Deadeye is an awesome tune. So I'm going to use him to stop Valken from using his ability. And then I'm going to open up with Firemen to do damage. And if you were going against fast heroes here, somebody might have taken damage that would have healed it. There is no taunt rune, or at least not an active one now, so I'm going to focus Jackhammer on Emily. Emily's down. And now, since this, well, he's already got a defense debuff because he's blinded, we're going to try it. I'm not probably going to kill him, but it's pretty close. It's okay, Deadeye can take that. Now, he should be able to kill because we'll have 1 follow-on attack. Except I missed. Now here's where I should be able to attack him, doing tons of damage, and kill him as well, which I did, and then follow and kill Theron. So that's the general gist of this team, is to be able to break the defender's intended flow. And I think I might have even done a spotlight on this team, but kind of draw it back in and show what you have to take into consideration. So, okay, you can run this against this team. You're still going to be fast. The difference here, and I don't really want to do this because I want him to be fast, but you can put Craw in. And I am hoping my Craw is ruined. I'm pretty sure he is. But this will stop the silence, so all of my other stuff works. Unfortunately, that means that Hagrim is not fast. So he has a chance to get stopped by somebody. So I'm going to Solar Shot Valken, which will do 2 things. It'll remove the taunt, and it'll stop him from doing his freezing attack. And I'm going to set everybody on fire. Okay. Oh, he just basically cleansed and whatever. So now, since I know he's going to fall when I do this, I'm going to use this and target Emily. Next round, my goal is going to be to, well, yeah. I'm going to say my goal would have been to kill her with the jackhammer, but... And actually, that's going to cost me the game, or the match. Yep. Gravy makes mistakes. But Gravy learns from them, so... Gravy is done talking about himself in the 3rd person. Or is he? Alright. So, back to the team that we're supposed to be featuring here. But before I had... Well, I didn't have any festive runes when I started using this team. This is 2 or 3, probably 3 months ago at this point, maybe 3.5. This was my counter. Because all the other strong players had festive runes. I didn't. I had to find a way to use resources that I had to be effective, and the best use of those resources is sidestepping their game. And apparently it purged something else. It didn't purge, so he must have had a Guardian rune or something like that. So it'll purge a buff, it's no guarantee which buff. But that's fine. Do a bunch of damage. I don't want to... I want to save Jackhammer always for Emily, so I'm going to use Buzzsaw here. I didn't want to kill him. I could have technically used my Solar Shot, should have used my Solar Shot against Falcon. It's been a long day, and I am not paying enough attention to what the hell I'm doing. That's why I didn't want to kill him without her taken care of, but... Alright, well now I should be able to kill her, which I can. And I should be able to kill Falcon. Almost. So yeah, what I should have done there was taken out... or stopped Falcon first and taken out her second, not worried so much about the taunt. So this will be fine. We'll do one more and then we'll wrap up. We'll go out at a note that actually isn't me screwing up the battle. So... I will do what I said I should be doing, which is stopping Falcon, dropping the bomb, killing Emily. Here I want to... So this is an interesting problem. I can probably take out Falcon. I can definitely take out Shade. Or I can hope to take out Zom. Or I could drop... well, no, this wouldn't work because they both have Shroud. So I am going to make sure that Falcon dies. Apparently I could have done that with the other ability. That's... Ember dies. That's part of the deal, unfortunately. But they've also got the attack buff. Alright, so that's the pain. That attack does have a debuff component to it. Gotta kill him. Okay, that's what I was waiting for, except now, yeah, that didn't help. I was hoping to be able to kill him without him taking over Hagrim, but that worked. And now Shade is gonna die. So, a little clumsy at the end, but it gets the point across. So that is Hagrim and Ember. Hagrim is an A... As a matter of fact, I think both of these are A-level heroes. They're not S's by any stretch, but they're good complements to a team. I probably use Hagrim a little bit less than I use Theron. Well, definitely use him less than I use Theron. And I can swap out Emily with Abby sometimes. Emily it's a great hero. It doesn't have the survivability of Emily. So anyhow, thank you for watching. If you like it, hit a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter at Gravy_training. And if you're new, go ahead and hit subscribe so that you can keep up to date on all the videos and content. Thanks, everybody. Today is the 31st of December on 2018, so everybody have a safe and happy new year, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.